At Thomas J. Henry, our results speak for themselves. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust.
I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week
in Cruton.
It's This Week in Recruiting. Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express! Gotta be honest, if I rolled up to a Thanksgiving and they just had a Chicken Express spread, wouldn't hate it.
You know what?
I want the traditional Thanksgiving, but if you're be like, hey, we're not doing the traditional Thanksgiving, I'm be like, oh man, bummed out. And
Screw
you roll
it.
up, and then it's just like a platter. I'm like of chickeny. I'm like,
Screw it. Get both. This is the day.
ooh yeah,
If there is a day of days
I love this.
to get Chicken Express, it is today.
Ooh,
Oh,
on
what
Thanksgiving
about-
Eve.
Your loved ones
Yeah.
are in the kitchen prepping for Thanksgiving. Do them a favor.
Ooh,
Get down to
for
Chicken Express and look. Listen, white gravy, brown gravy, two different kinds of turkey gravy and chicken. Two different kinds of gravy. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get in the way of your Thanksgiving meal. You're only going to make it better.
Here's what
by
I'm-
going down to Chicken
You
Express
know-
tonight. and
Here's
picking
what I'm
up
going
what
to
we
tell
need.
you.
Tendies
They got family meals.
You know what
You
would
want
be
a
a
pack of 30
flex?
tendies? They got 30 tendies for you.
Double down on the rolls.
I was just fixing to say I'm huge on everything at Thanksgiving being homemade, like pies, everything. That's
Yeah.
just what my family always did. But if there was one thing that would be clutch to walk up with, the rolls. Like walking up with a whole bag of Chicken Express rolls. All due respect to King Hawaiian rolls, which are fantastic, but walking up with Chicken Express rolls would be a flex at
This
Thanksgiving.
is a freaking great idea.
This is a great
This
idea.
is a great idea, Pickle.
Just go order all the rolls.
I'm getting some chicken. We have a good roll game planned out
Yeah.
for tomorrow. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do this.
That's I just feel like that's
I
the
gotta try
one
it.
thing that you can come with that's not homemade that people would be like,
That's
I'm
better
gonna-
than
yes,
homemade.
I'm gonna push
it's
back.
better than
I'm
homemade.
going to push
yeah.
back on this because you're saying it's not homemade.
It
But
is.
in many respects, Chicken Express is my home. And they make it there, so.
That was, we have to clip that and send it to him with the turkey hat on. It was perfect marketing.
Love you, Chicken Express. Happy Thanksgiving. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise is Jim Ned's. What do you
I
love
can't.
that?
I can't. I mean, just clip it and tell them it's a chicken hat.
And then, yeah.
Okay? It's
It
a
really
chicken
does.
hat.
It looks
It's a
like
chicken hat.
a chicken.
Got the wings. Jim Ned, offensive lineman Gage Staniland. Gage Staniland has picked up an offer this week from Oklahoma State, and he's like, yep, that works for me. Committed to the Cowboys right then and there. It was his first Power 5 offer, and he made it count. And I feel like they are getting a real mauler up front. This guy is a monster.
I'm willing to bet that Gage Staniland's powered by Chicken Express.
I bet he has had some gravy in his life.
Yeah, this dude's a monster, and one of those ones who kind of emerged on the radar a little bit late. He had some, solid offers, I guess. He had offers.
Yep.
But the Oklahoma State one was definitely a game changer. When I popped on his tape, I was like, wow, Gage Staniland, this dude, he's a beast up front. I think that he really moves the pile. He's the perfect interior offensive lineman. I wonder if he could play some center too. I think that would be a really good fit for him. But center or off right guard, left guard, any of those spots work really well for Gage. And little shout out here to Jim Ned because since 2018 or something he's the first Jim Ned prospect
Yeah.
that we've had in our database.
Yeah, for sure.
So shout out over there to Jim Ned. Do we just call him Jim Ned or do
I
we
call
add their city in our
Tuscola? No, I just call him Jim Ned. I mean, there's
All
really
right,
only
I'm
one
good
of them.
with that.
Kind of like we call it Byron Nelson.
Yeah.
Thing. And yeah, he's a monster up front, and he's ready to roll. And what I appreciate is that we're showing a lot of him pulling. We're showing a lot of him getting out in space and move. He moves really well for a big fella.
Yeah, I really like his tape. He's going to be one of those guys that kind of shoots into our, he's definitely a 3-star guy. And then, Oklahoma State does such a good job finding these guys, right? I mean, they're roster is littered with Texas high school football prospects that didn't have the big offers that are like all conference type of players, and I think he could be next in line.
Let's move on to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, going to the DFW Metroplex, talk about Garland Naaman Forest's lineman Marcus Deal. Many would call him a good player. He committed this week to TCU, passing up offers from places like Oklahoma, Texas, and Georgia, and USC. He is the number 16 prospect in the DCTF Hot 100. He is now the highest rated TCU commit. Now, there is a question as to where he's going to play at the next level. He's a freak show, 6'4", 290, moves really, really well. And this is a big pickup for TCU regardless of where he plays, but I know you've got some hot sports opinions on where you want to see him.
For fans of the show that know what we're doing, well, and for the not for the people who
hate
don't
this show.
For people who don't tune in every week. Yesterday we sent DCTF Rising to press.
We did.
Woohoo.
Shocker, Marcus Deal is in the magazine.
Oh, he made it.
He made it. Well, we had a little bit of a debate yesterday just kind of talking about what position that you like Marcus Deal at better than the other. You see here I've listed him as a D-line,
Yes.
O-line.
Yes. In that order.
Right. D-line, O-line. Deal wants to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he wants to play. He was really concentrating on schools down the stretch that were looking at him to play defense as well. And we did an interview with him earlier in the season. He didn't talk about any schools that were recruiting him to play offense. Everything was based around like what the defensive line looks like and the defensive front and how they could incorporate him into their scheme. So I think that he wants to play defense. And there's been some big guys like him in recent years. Like the first one that always jumps in my mind is Cameron Hayward. He was an O-line, D-lineman. Everybody thought he was going to be an O-lineman because he was too tall.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's too tall to play defensive tackle. Well, I mean, he's made a healthy living in the NFL.
I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's fine. And Marcus Deal is a similar type of player. Already 6'5", 290 pounds. And I think that the thing that I really like about his game is he's got a 74-inch wingspan. And he's pretty explosive for a big fella. First step explosiveness creates havoc for offensive linemen to try to keep him out of the backfield. And shout out to TCU, of course. They're doing a really good job with getting some DCTF 4-stars on that roster.
Yes.
In this class. Warren Roberson, Cameron Cook, jump right up, Cordell Russell.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys are really good players in this TCU class. And I think because they've been playing so good on the national stage, this TCU class is coming together pretty nice.
Big get here for TCU. The Frogs haul in Marcus Deal. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete, here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. I always look like this. Let's get to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week, stay in the DFW Metroplex. We go to Red Oak, talk about their sophomore defensive end, Kamarian Morgan. Kamarian Morgan had a terrific sophomore season, which has now come to a close. This week, he picked up 3 offers. Baylor, Kentucky, and Georgia. Right out of the chute for Kamarian Morgan, and this is not going to be the last of his offers. He is a star.
No, and he really came on like gangbusters towards the end of the year. He didn't get a whole lot of varsity snaps early on in the season, so he's one who these schools are offering based off of even limited tape. And this is 2 games worth of highlights that we're going to take a look at here. 4 sacks in 2 games, games 6 through 8. I guess that's 3 games, right? 6 through 8. 3-game highlight. Morgan really got after the quarterback and really kind of changed what the Red Oak defense was all about because they had some pretty solid players, but they didn't have a guy who could pressure the quarterback like this. And the future is bright, I feel like, at Red Oak. You not only have Morgan, who's up and coming, you have a pair of wide receivers down there in Braden Robinson and Montez Taz Williams in the 2025 and 2026 classes, respectively. College coaches are going to be flocking to Red Oak, and they had a really strong season on the field as well. So they're not just prospects down there; they're doing a good job coaching that team up.
Yeah, he is. They've got plenty to like on that Red Oak team, and they're very young. I would keep an eye on them moving forward, and especially with their big defensive end, Kamarian Morgan, our underclassman of the week. Let's move on to our recruit of the week. Our recruit of the week is South Oak Cliff senior cornerback Javon Thomas. Javon Thomas is a Texas A&M commit. Javon Thomas has been out for almost all the season. I think he came back first round playoffs.
I can't remember if he played snaps in the very first game or not. He was questionable going into the first game, but I don't know if he played.
Well, I can report conclusively that he did play against Lovejoy and was it a big factor because they put him at running back and he ran 3 times for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns and gave them a real spark in their win over Lovejoy. And Javon Thomas is a key component to what this team is trying to do.
I think if Javon Thomas averages 31 yards per carry down the stretch here, they're going to be tough to beat.
I think
that's my
you know
prediction.
What? Hot take. I agree with.
Texas A&M commit. They're happy to see him back. You know, not only is South Oak Cliff happy to see him back, but Texas A&M fans are probably pretty excited to get a chance of what he can do as a senior because you like to see with these prospects how they advance their game.
Yes.
And you know, right out of the gate, a 43-yard touchdown run, kind of got South Oak Cliff out strong on Lovejoy. That ended up being a competitive game. I think the final was 42-37. South Oak Cliff had to outlast the Leopards in that one.
Yeah, Step and I talked about this on Tep and Step. I just think that South Oak Cliff's pretty bad at recovering onside kicks, and they should improve that, but they were very clearly the better team in that game.
Javon Thomas, this is a roster that's loaded with talent, right? It's hard to point to just one player and say, this guy is going to completely change what our team is.
Yes.
But it seems like Thomas did have that type of effect by stepping back out on the field.
It does feel like they have really gotten a jolt from the addition of Javon Thomas.
They got a lot of good defensive backs, but getting a running back with that type of talent, is hard. It's hard to to replace that. And on the recruiting front, TCU and Texas Tech might get visits down the stretch from this Aggie commit.
Really?
So that'll be interesting to watch. We'll see if he's locked up to go to College Station, or can one of these other schools make a big push for him?
Yeah. That's right.
We'll see.
He's Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter, GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Powers, stick around because we need you for the mailbag show.
I will definitely be here.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.